Right, just combing my beard. I do not have a hairdresser because I'm not that famous yet. Light. And in this video, we're going to be working on yet another Nintendo Switch that came in for no power. Big Boss already inspected the console, and he said when he plugs the charging cable in and he monitors the amp meter, it flickers. Let me show you what I mean. I have an amp meter here. Power bank is on. Plug the cable, and the meter flickers. The meter should read 15 volts and show the amps being drawn by this motherboard if the battery is connected. Right now it's not showing any voltage and it's flickering. I've done a lot of videos on Nintendo Switches and some of them are the same issue, but I record whatever I have on the bench here as time permits. Right now the first thing I want to do is inspect the M92 chip and see if we have a problem on that chip. Based on my experience working on those consoles, a flickering amp meter is almost always a M92 chip problem. I'm going to inspect capacitors around the chip and see if we have a short. Start with those. And we have a short. We have a short. A short on this capacitor is an indication that the chip is bad. Let me test here. Good. And here, good. So let's go ahead and replace the M92 chip. Maybe before I do that, let me just take a look at the USB-C port, and it looks good. I've seen this very same problem so many times. You build a pattern over time. What is wrong with the device? Because some people ask me, how do you know that the problem is this chip? You build a pattern. At first, I did not know that this chip can cause such issues. But over time, you build a pattern of common problems on this device. Sometimes we replace 4 or 5 components on the motherboard to fix it. It's not always that easy, but sometimes it is. When we build a customer, we bill him flat rate. We do not bill the customer based on how many items we change on the board. We bill him for a motherboard repair, whether it takes us 1 second to fix or 3 hours to fix. Because sometimes we have customers that come in and they tell me, I only want to solder that tiny component. How much is it to solder only that tiny component? And the customer does not even know if the problem is from that tiny component. He just want to make it seem so easy to work on. And I quote the customer for a motherboard repair. Because you cannot always take what the customer tells you. He tells you it's that component, you change it. It's not that component, and the customer doesn't want to pay you because it did not fix his problem. So we do not really have time to go back and forth with the customer. We give him a flat rate working on something. And if that something does not work, we still charge a repair attempt fee for working on the device. And we do not have a single customer that has problems with either paying a flat rate or repair attempt fee. As long as we are trying our best, that's what matters. Not everything is fixable, but we have pretty good success rate working on all devices. We're going to start by desoldering this chip, and we do not have to add flux, but I add flux so it helps with the flow of solder. And some people complain that I use a lot of flux. I do not know if they are paying for my flux. It appears under the microscope that we may be using a lot of flux, but it's only 1 drop. Only 1 drop of flux. Flux can make the difference between having a good joint and a bad joint. People cheap out on flux and they end up doing a bad job. I'm talking about techs that work in the same field. Or they use cheap flux just to save a few dollars. And they end up not doing such a great job. We're gonna prep the pads. Just quickly go over the pads. soak them with leaded solder. And look, on this side we have a lot of flux. Look at how nice the pads are. And this area we do not have enough flux. And look at the difference. Not as nice. So that's a great example right here. But now if we add some flux here, then we're gonna have nice joints. Very nice. Just want to add some solder in the center here. Very important. I'm gonna clean up the flux and reapply. And the reason I want to clean up the flux, even though I can still reuse it, is because we have some burned flux here. I do not want burned flux to be under the chip. So I clean and reapply a fresh layer of flux. When I work on something, I work on it like it's my device. And let's grab an M92 chip. And this is a good M92 chip, unlike a lot of the chips that are being sold in the market. Fake chips or bad chips. I discussed this in a previous video. Let's go ahead and solder this chip. Those chips can be purchased off our website, and we have a lot of other components for Nintendo Switches that you can buy. Battery connectors, USB-C ports, BQ chips, M92 chips, so on and so forth. Okay, let's press down a bit, and we're gonna align it, and now it's gonna align itself, just like that. Tap it, it goes back, tap it, it goes back. Perfect. Let's wait until solder hardens. I'm gonna press down on it one more time. Press, heat up. And the job is done. That's it. Those two caps, they always bridge when solder comes out of the inside. But that's not a problem. Not a problem. There's a solution to everything. Very nice. Look at how nice the joints are. That's because of using flux and good quality flux. I'm using Amtech 559 flux, and we work directly with Amtech, so their flux is sold on our website. And let's just go over the top here. I do not have to do this, but why not? Before I clean any further, let me go ahead and test the capacitor that was shorted to ground, the one on the top, meter in diode mode. This one right here, and we do not have a short anymore. Meter is reading 0.42, 0.32, 0.46. Very nice, very nice. The reading is perfect. All right, and will that amp meter flicker after replacing the M92 chip? Let's see. Ta-da! 15 volts. 15 volts and 0 amps because battery is not plugged in. And like I said, flickering amp meter is a problem with the M92 chip. Let's go ahead and clean. I told you, man. I told you it's the M92 chip. But you wouldn't listen. It's funny, I have the front door closed on the shop and 2 people came in and left. I got interrupted so much today that I just got pissed off. I closed the door. I locked the door. Nobody is here to help today except for Big Boss, but he's already busy. My dad is off today, so orders are waiting until tomorrow to be shipped. He's off every Tuesday. And customer service, my sister, she's working off location today. I'm such a nice boss. Okay, so I'm gonna give it to Big Boss to reassemble and I'll be back to test it together. I'll be back. Big Boss reassembled the board and he did tell me that the customer's battery is gonna take a while to charge because it's drained, but he gave me another charged battery that we can use just for the sake of testing. So let me plug my battery, or let's keep the customer's battery first and just show you what's happening. (15 volts at 0.13 amps. 0.13 is a bit low, but his battery is completely dead. You do see the battery sign on the top left. Let me plug our battery so we can finish this video to show you that the console is working. And right there. Right there. And I do see a crack on the screen here. But we're not changing the screen on this. We're just fixing the motherboard. We're gonna invoice and mail this back to the customer. But one problem we have is the customer did not include any papers along with this game console. I do not see a name inside the box. I do not see a phone number. I do not see an email. The only thing I see is the name on the shipping label, and that's the UPS store. That's the name and address, phone number of the UPS store and not the customer. So I do not know who this console is for. My sister is not here to open the packages today, so Big Boss opened it and gave it to me. And I did not realize until now the customer did not include any papers inside the package. Otherwise, I would not have worked on this device. But it's fixed anyway. And we're gonna start working on something else. I have a Spectre motherboard here that we need to work on. I have 2 key fobs for the same customer that we need to work on. And I have an Xbox, some type of adapter for an Xbox that he wants fixed, and he brought this one only. It looks like the connector is bad, and he attempted repair on this board, and I see damage on this side of the board. So I told him to come and pick up tomorrow. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll do something else in the next video.